We start with a 580 N is our smallest. The 580 Super N is the second in line. The 580 Super N wide track is the next in line, and then the 590 Super N is our largest. So as we go through, I'll talk about some of the differences in each one of them. First off, we'll start up in the front of the machine. The three largest models. So the 580N has a little different bucket than what this is, but the three largest models will have a bucket that is shaped like this. A large beam that's on the top part, a squared off rear corner for back dragging, and a bolt-on cutting edge as standard equipment. And that's very important. It is reversible bolt-on cutting edge, but I think the important part of this is that our skid plate is even with the bottom of this bolt-on cutting edge. So if you can imagine the gradability that we have with this style is superb, because the bucket, when it's laid flat on the ground, is laying on this much, holding gradability. If you take a competitive model and you put a bolt-on cutting edge on it, you are trying to balance on this 6-inch cutting edge and trying to hold grade with that machine just on 6 inches. We have inline reverse linkage. The linkage is in line with both main frames of the loader, and so the visibility down to that bucket is the best that it can possibly be. Also, double dump cylinders inline linkage gives us 4 points of contact with this bucket. When you're prying on something, you have less twisting with that bucket when we have 4 points of contact versus 3 points, like some of the competitive machines. Inline reverse linkage means that we use this cylinder in the reverse action. A cylinder by nature will draw in much faster with less power and out with more power and less speed. So we use the speed cycle of this for the dump. Very fast dump and very good power on the breakout force of the machine when you're rolling it back, because the entire back of this piston is exposed to the pressure. So you have a lot more power in the out position than the in position. The speed comes from the rod displacing oil. It takes less oil. So this will handle it much better. We've also, on our N series, we've lengthened our loader arms. That takes a stronger loader frame also. We've lengthened this by about 4.5 inches to give us better reach into a dump truck. So we can reach and clean up a job site much easier. Even on stockpiling, we can build a larger stockpile because we can reach to the center of that stockpile much easier. Also, with the strength of this loader, our cross arm comes all the way through, and we weld it on the outside and on the inside to give it good side-to-side strength. We pointed out in the demo, we have front bumpers. These bumpers are rubber, and then when you come in contact with a dump truck, sometimes you inadvertently just slide into that dump truck as you're loading it, or you want to load into the center of that and you bump a nice fancy dump truck. You're not going to harm the paint on that dump truck, and you're not going to harm your hood itself. So that is standard on all 4 of our models, and you see that it's hooked to the frame itself, not to the hood. Hood tilts whether this loader arms are up or down or anywhere in between. We could simply get in that seat right now, raise this to full height, and it would not come in contact with this hood. So that adds to ground line serviceability. We can service this no matter where that loader is put in the position. So easy access to everything under the hood. Another thing that we do, we will get to the backhoe, but we have came up with a fabricated boom on our backhoe now to add to our lifting strength to it. And the backhoe is now 200 pounds heavier than what we had previously. So our front counterweights now are 1,100 pounds. If you have a previous machine from us or previous to the N series, the largest was a 900 pound. So we keep the machine in balance by offering a 1,100 pound front counterweight with the extendable fabricated boom, which is standard on our machines now. Also, tie downs. If you're going to trailer this anywhere, nice tie downs for chains going off to the corners. our front axle. One thing we do about our front axle is we put our steering cylinder behind our front axle. You see that is very well protected then. A lot of other manufacturers will put their steering cylinder ahead of the front axle, and then it's in harm's way because if you bump anything, get any concrete rolling off that bucket, it could come in contact with that cylinder or any of the tie rod ends. We put ours behind the axle, so it's very well protected. When you get the optional four-wheel drive, we give you a Driveline Guard standard equipment. That is an option on most other manufacturers. So the Driveline Guard also protects that from underneath. Yep. So that is standard with our four-wheel drive. But rear quarter windows now are standard with cabs. The rear quarter windows, ventilation for that operator when he's running the backhoe, and safety also. If somebody's on the ground wants to talk to this operator, he comes to the side of the machine, not in harm's way back here, where the swing arc is. So very safe. 360-degree lighting. If you only get a ROPS machine, no cab, whether you get either one of the two larger ones, so good stability on side hills. Whether you're working in ditches and things like that. Very nice for any ditch work, utility work, in and out of ditches. With the 580 Super N wide track, you also get limited slip standard equipment in the front axle. So it's nice when you are on a steep slope that you can get true four-wheel drive with that limited slip on the front. Flip pads are an option. You see right now they are on the dirt side of it. They will flip around to the street side. They are pinnable, and right now they're pinned in. I'd have to pull this pin out and flip it around to the street side. So that is an option that you could get on it. It's a pretty popular option. Over center backhoe. We showed you how we swing this up over center. It is literally over center of the main pivot point. So 15% of the weight of this backhoe goes to the front of the tractor. That makes it much more stable for roading or maneuvering around a job site. The balance of the machine it's balanced very well, so you don't get a lot of porpoising. And that 15% of the weight to the front, coupled with that front bucket, gives you the best gradability with that front bucket in the industry. With the added strength that we put in the backhoe, we went to larger pins, larger diameter pins, and a fabricated boom. This is built in the same factory that the machine is, but it's a fabricated boom where we can control the quality control much better than we could on a cast iron piece. But there's 200 pounds more weight built into this also. We have much more strength than what we had before, even in standard mode. We showed you where on the 590 we have a lift capacity of 3,480 pounds, 1675 I think kilograms, at 19 feet. So throughout our whole line, our lift capacity of our backhoe is very much improved from what we had before. We also have the power lift cycle that we showed you that give you added lift capacity or added performance throughout that backhoe, just with a switch of a button, which is located way in the back corner back here. So it's an option on our 580 Super N. This Super N happens to have that option on it. It's standard on the two largest. When you get the extend-a-hole option, you also get this sawtooth configuration here to clamp onto. There is an optional right side door that you can get on our cabs if you'd like to go to the cab. Standard equipment on our machines, our test ports. That's all.